welcome back, guys. Today we are going to solve the problem in which we have to rotate the array to the right by k steps, and most importantly, k is a positive integer, right? So, before solving it, let's understand what is the input and the output that we have. So, here let's assume we have this array and we are given a number 3. That means we have to rotate the array by 3 steps to the right. That means, let's say first we take this 7 in front of the 1, that is first step. Now here 6 we take again to the right, that is it will come here. Now again for the third step we will take 5 and take it to the right. So the net output will look like this: 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this we have to output. Now first try to understand how we can solve this problem, and after that we will come back again. So we are given this array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and we have to rotate this to the right by 3 steps. That means the 7 will go to the front, then 6 and then 5. So what we can do is the brute force solution. As we can see, we have to move the last 3 elements because we have given the k as 3. That means the last 3 elements we have to shift to the front, right? So what we can do is we can create a temp array and first store these last 3 elements inside this array, right? Now after storing these 3 elements, what we have to do is we have to shift the front 4 elements to the end, right? That means this 4 will go to the 7th place, this 3 will go to this the position of 6, and so on, right? So what we can do is for this we can just make a for loop and shift those arrays. After shifting, what we will get is we will get as 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the end, right? And initial numbers will remain 1, 2, 3, correct? Now we have shifted the first 4 elements to the end. Now this will be our resultant array which we got from this, right? Now what we have to do is we from this temporary array we have to insert these elements in the front. That means this 5 will go to this first place, this 6 will go where 2 is stored, and this 7 will go where 3 is stored, right? That means we just have to do another for loop and store these elements, right? Now after storing this 5, 6, 7 to the front, and as the resultant array is already 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now after inserting in the front, we will get our resultant array. That is the answer which we need to get from this problem statement. That is just rotate by 3 steps. So what we have done is just inserted those last 3 elements inside the temp array and then shifted the first n minus k elements to the end, and then again a for loop to shift the 0 to kth element in this array to the front. Now as we have taken an extra space for this temp array, so the overall space complexity of this brute force solution will be order of k, as we are storing the last k elements in this temp array. So we have taken an extra kth space, right? And when it comes to the time complexity, we are first we have looped through this, that is 0 to kth time. Then again we have shifted these elements to the end. So we have again done a loop. So overall time complexity will become O of n plus k. That is, n is our length of array and plus k is the additional length of the array. So the overall time complexity will be O of n of k. Sorry, O of n plus k. Now this is the brute force approach, in which we just simply taken an extra space, an extra array, and just shifted those elements and inserted the new elements to the front. But there is still the scope of optimization in this approach. So now let's think how we can optimize. Now coming to the optimal solution, here the intuition is we have to observe this array input and the output. Now if we see in this input array and the resultant array, this 5, 6, 7 is one subarray, and this 5, 6, 7 is present here, right? And if we start from the beginning, this 1, 2, 3, 4 array is present here in the end, right? Now if we carefully observe and see that if we rotate the first n minus kth elements, that is, let us rotate this 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? Sorry, not rotate, reverse these 1, 2, 3 and 4. What we will get is 4, 3, 2, 1. Correct? Now let's rotate the remaining k elements from the end, that is 5, 6 and 7. So if we just reverse them, we will get 7, 6, 5, right? Now this is our array after converting. Now if we have to make this array, which is our output one, from this we can see that 5, 6, 7, here it is 5, 6, 7, then 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4. That means we just simply need to reverse the array, right? So we start from the 5, then 6, then 7, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. That is, we just need to reverse the array which we got. That is 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Now we got our answer. Now what steps we have done? Let's see. We reverse this array, not sorry, this one. We reverse initial n minus kth array, then we reverse the last kth elements, then we reverse the complete array. That means we have to reverse 3 times, right? Now, considering the space complexity, we are not using any extra space. We are just changing the original array, right? So here the space complexity will be O of 1, right? So the space complexity will be O of 1, right? And considering the time complexity, as we have looped through this kth array and then n minus kth array and then again whole n array, right? And if we add those complexities, it will result to O of to n, right? Where n is the length of array, or we can just simply say of n, as we can ignore the constants. Now, this is the better and optimal solution in which the time complexity is of n and we are using zero space or no extra space, so the space complexity will be of 1. Now, hopefully you have understood the intuition and how we are thinking of going towards this solution. Now, let's come back to the code editor and start coding it, and let's see. Now, let's apply what we have learned till now to solve this problem, right? Now, we are solving this through JavaScript. So first of all, we have to understand what we are given in our code editor. We are given a number array, which is nums, and k, that means the number of steps, and we have to return basically nothing. That is, we just have to modify this nums array, right? Now, let's start, right? So, first of all, this k can be anything, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, anything. But it can be greater than the length of array as well, right? That means if nums dot length is 7, right? K can also be 8 or 9, correct? If we see, and the most important thing to understand is, right, that if we rotate the array by 7 steps, right, if we rotate array by length of array, right, we will get back original array. This we have to always remember. That means if k is 8, that means rotate by 1, as by 7 it will lead to the original array and the remaining is 1. Similarly, k is 9, that is equal to 7 plus 2. So k can all be 2, right? That means we have to remember this, okay, before we start. Now we have this given k, right? So first of all, let's have the length of the array, that is nums dot length, right? Now, as we have learned, this k can be more than the length of the array, and we have to ignore the multiples of the length of the array. So what we can do is we can reduce our value to k modulo n, right? So that it always remains the less than the length of the array. Now, what we have learned is we need to reverse our array in 3 parts. So let's suppose we have this reverse function which takes the nums array as the first parameter. And so first of all, we have to reverse this 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If you remember, that means the starting index is 0 and the end index would be n minus k minus 1, right? After that, again we have to reverse, and that is the last kth elements, right? Again, we will pass this nums array as the first parameter to this function, and for this reversal, the start index would be n, which is total length of the array, and the k, that is this, subtracting this k. So the start index will be n minus k, and the n index is the length of the array minus 1, correct? Now these two reversals are done. Now we have to reverse whole array, right? So if we have to reverse the whole array, so the start index would be 0 and the last index would be length of the array minus 1, correct? So that's all we have to do. Now this reverse function we also need to create. So let's create this reverse function as well, right? I am creating an arrow function, right, which takes this nums as the first parameter and start and an index, right? Now we have to reverse this. So reverse means we need to swap the start and end indexes, right? That's all we know in reversal. So if we need to swap two elements, what we can do is we can take first element inside this temp variable and put the last element inside the first element, right? And now we can put the temp which we have stored inside the first element, right? So inside this for loop, after swapping the first and last element, we need to increase our start by 1 and decrease our end by 1. So then the loop will go on and we swap the remaining elements as well. So this is the code to reverse an array, right? From the given start and the end index. Now let's see after running how it goes. See, basic two test cases have been passed. Now let's submit this solution. Hmm. See, it is accepted and hopefully you understand this solution and the most importantly why we did this modulo of k by n. And if you still have any doubts, you guys can ask me in the comment section. I will be ready to help